All right, let's talk about something you've probably wondered about since you were a kid. Curled up with one of those classic storybooks.
Okay, so why is it that so many of our greatest, most unforgettable stories
All star characters who aren't even human? I mean, think about it. Paws, wings, whiskers, not people? From way back in ancient fables to the books and movies we love today, we are obsessed with talking animals. So let's figure out why.
Okay, let's get right into the psychology of it all. The first big reason, and this is a huge one, is that these stories give us a kind of safe place. A place where we can learn some really important and honestly, sometimes pretty tough lessons.
Now, there's a fancy word for this: anthropomorphism. It's basically the magic trick of giving human feelings and thoughts to things that aren't human. And this isn't some new idea. It's a super old and respected tradition you can find in cultures all over the world.
So what's the point of doing that? Well, it creates what psychologists call emotional distance. Think of it like this. When a story is dealing with something really heavy, maybe even painful, having a cartoon rabbit go through it instead of a person lets us process it without feeling attacked or threatened. It's like a safety buffer for our brains.
And this quote from Bruno Bettelheim, it just nails it. He pointed out that stories let us say things to powerful people or institutions that we'd be too scared to say to their faces, right? It's a whole lot easier to call out a greedy lion king in a fable than a real-life ruler. It's a clever way to talk about big, scary topics like injustice.
But it gets even deeper than that. It's not just about creating distance. There's another layer here. These stories often rely on a very specific and super interesting kind of character, a character you'll see popping up in myths and legends absolutely everywhere.
And that character is the trickster. You know this one. The clever, mischievous rule breaker. Sometimes they're the hero, sometimes they're the villain, and a lot of the time they're somewhere in between. But no matter what, they always shake things up. The psychologist Carl Jung called this an archetype. Basically, a universal pattern that just seems to be wired into all of us.
And what's so cool is how one animal can play totally different roles. Just look at the rabbit. On one hand, you've got the rabbit who learns a moral lesson. Slow and steady wins the race kind of thing. But then you have Brer Rabbit from Appalachian folklore, who is the super cunning, kind of arrogant trickster who's always outsmarting everyone. Same animal, two totally different jobs.
And it's not just rabbits, not by a long shot. This trickster character is everywhere. I mean, look at this list. North America has the coyote and the raven, Africa has Anansi the spider, Europe has the fox. It's truly global. Heck, even the gods have tricksters like Hermes in ancient Greece or the infamous Loki in Norse myths. It's a universal concept.
So what's the big takeaway here? The trickster is more than just a fun character. They serve a really important purpose. They let us explore that little part of ourselves that wants to ask, why do we have to follow that rule? They let us safely imagine what would happen if we just challenged authority and flipped the script.
Okay, this all leads to a really fascinating point. These stories, they're not frozen in time. Not at all. They actually change and evolve right along with us, acting like a mirror for what we care about, what we argue about, and what we're afraid of as a society.
Just take a look at this timeline. You can see it happen right here. Back in the 1840s, it was all about teaching simple morals. Don't lie, don't steal, very black and white. Then, jump to the mid-20th century, and things get a bit more personal. The stories start digging into relationships, what it's like at school, even animal rights. And now, wow. Now fables are tackling huge, complex issues. We're talking war, the environment, social class, you name it.
And that just goes to show you we really shouldn't dismiss these as just kids' stories. This quote from the National Council of Teachers of English says it all. The impact these books have can last a lifetime. They literally help shape how we see the world.
So what's the bottom line? Well, it's pretty clear that these stories are way, way more than just child's play.
I mean, when you really think about it, these aren't just stories. They're like sophisticated tools that we've invented as a culture. Tools for making sense of the world, for passing on our values, and for figuring out what it even means to be human, all from that safe distance we talked about. So let's wrap this up. Why do we need animal stories? Well, for one, they help us navigate a pretty chaotic world. They give us a safe space to wrestle with difficult feelings. They're a powerful way to comment on society. And, maybe most importantly, they hold up a mirror to who we are and who we're becoming.
And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. Our world is only getting more complex, right? So, what new stories are we going to need our animals to tell us next? What challenges will they help us understand in the future? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining me.